So what's the difference between a single, an EP, and an album? The answer to this question is coming right on up. Make sure you watch to the end because I'm going to make a special announcement about my own music. Let's go.
Yeah. Just watch me go. See how I do it.
Hey, I'm Bori Afolabi. I'm a singer-songwriter, producer-engineer, and I want to welcome you to my channel where I share some of my own music, methods, and of course where songwriting gets attention. If you're new to this channel and you dig music and songwriting, consider subscribing. I post once a week. All right, let's get into it. So what is a single? A single is usually one song, and it's released often as an appetizer for a greater body of work. Now, sometimes people will release a single also in between the creation of one record and another. So if you just released an album, like say 2 years ago, and you're working on another one, and if you want to keep your fans interested or keep your audience interested, often what a band will do or an artist will do is release just one single to keep the interest going and so that the fans and the people don't forget about them. So like I said, a single is usually one song, but that doesn't necessarily mean one track or one version of the song. Often a label or an artist will release like an a cappella version. They might release an acoustic version of the same song or an instrumental version. And sometimes they even have like remixes. So they'll have another artist or a DJ or somebody that does remixes, do a remix for them, and they'll put it all on the one CD or whatever you call it today, digital platform, and they will release it as a single. So you have multiple versions of the same track, but it's still one song. That is a single. So you hear bands say it all the time. Come on out to my show, guys. We're dropping or releasing a new EP today. What are they talking about? What is an EP? An EP is something that stands for extended play. And that's basically a collection of music that's longer than a single and usually only approximately 4 tracks, about 25 minutes in length. Now, some people will release something a little longer or a little shorter and still call it an EP. If it's that much longer, to me, I think it's more like an album. But I would say if you're gonna release an EP, it should probably be somewhere in the 3 to 5 song range. So you don't usually hear people say, hey, I'm dropping a new LP today. Why don't you guys come on and check out the show? No, what you do hear is, hey, I'm releasing a new record or a new album today. Why don't you guys come out and check it out? So what's the difference? Well, there is no difference. An LP and an album are essentially the same thing. LP, similar to EP, simply stands for long play or lengthy play. I've heard both. So an album or an LP is a collection of music that is longer than a single or an EP, and it's usually about 40 minutes long or 10 tracks. Although I have heard albums, or I've seen albums that are, you know, up to 18 tracks especially, which is really long. But usually about 40 minutes is the average, 10 songs, sometimes 12, or they'll throw a bonus track on or a hidden track. But that's basically what an album is. Bonus, mixtape. So you hear the rappers and MCs talk about they dropping their mixtape sometime, right? All the time, right? What a mixtape, man. Well, a mixtape is another collection of music or songs or tracks, a body of work, and it's usually free and often used as a promotional tool. And most mixtapes don't have to be original content exclusively. There's all kinds of other stuff on there, remixes, there's collaborations. It's just basically gumbo, and it's gumbo, oh my. It's basically, you know, just a collection of different stuff. It's passed around, and it's definitely used as an appetite whetter or a promoter, or a lot of people will throw on their B-side stuff. So tracks that didn't make the cut for an album sometimes go on a mixtape. It's just exactly that, it's a mix, okay? In my experience, I haven't heard a mixtape from any genre other than the hip hop genre. I don't know why, but I guess that's kind of maybe where it originated, I don't know. But it's usually, I find, in the hip hop genre, and that's pretty much it, mixtape. Okay, so now that you know the difference between a single, an EP, an album/LP, and a mixtape, which one's best for you? How do you know which option works best for your needs as an artist? Since I don't know what kind of music you're making, and I know there's a variety of music out there, and artists as well, I'm basically just gonna share my opinion, okay? So I would recommend that if you are a new artist, and you're just starting, you know, you've written some music, but you're not out there publicly, you've never released anything, I would recommend starting with a single, right? Number one, start from the very beginning. The beauty about a single is you don't have to invest a lot of time into it. You can get it done relatively quickly, and it doesn't cost a lot of money to release one single. And it's a good way to kind of test the waters, so to speak, right? You release it, you can even just decide if this is what you want to do or not, see how people respond, get some feedback, and you can do it very quickly. So that's why I would release a single. Now, if you're a little more of a mature artist, or you've been in the industry a little longer and you've been writing and you've already released a single, then maybe it's time to try an EP, which is, you know, like I said, a few more songs. The beauty about an EP is that it's more than one song, so it's more of a body of work, and people can get a better sense of who you are as an artist, and you can show off some of your variety and your different sides, things that you can do, like a slow song, a fast song, different timings, and just different things that'll show a little bit more of your dimension as an artist. So if you're a little more experienced as an artist, why not try an EP? So keep in mind that it costs more, it takes a bit more time, and it says a bit more about you as an artist. So you might be committing more to a certain sound when you start releasing more than one body of work. Now, an album I would recommend releasing after you've done an EP or two, or maybe a single, but I definitely wouldn't recommend starting with an album right off the bat for a few of the reasons I mentioned before, you know, as far as time. But it's also a massive commitment. It takes a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of patience. So the beauty about an album, though, is that you can say a lot with an album. You can tell a whole story. You can develop a theme around it. It's just much more engaging and bigger. A lot of albums are written almost as a story. I think of like Dark Side of the Moon, for an example, which is an amazing album, Pink Floyd, right? It's a body of work that you can listen to all the songs on there individually, but when you listen to the album back to back, it's an actual experience, right? There's more to that, but it's an actual experience. So if you're an established artist and your fan base is strong and people are digging what you do, an album's not a bad idea. But again, keep in mind that it takes a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of effort. And one other thing to keep in mind is, okay, say you want to release an album, and by the time you finish the album, a year has gone by, okay? And you wanted to release that album during a time where a certain style of music was popular or hot that you're trying to kind of get on that bandwagon. The problem is, if it takes you a year to write that album, record it, mix it, and master it, and by the time you get to the point of releasing it, the style you're trying to kind of fit into has already moved on, and there's a new style, a new sound of music today, then your album will drop and people will be like, oh, that's like old news. We don't want to hear that. We're into this new banging stuff. So just keep that in mind. That's not always the case, but it's good to know. So when should you release a mixtape? Well, a mixtape I find is really good, again, in between albums. So if you're going to take 2 years to work on an album, drop a mixtape. Throw some old tracks from your old album that didn't make the cut on your old album. Get some buddies in there or some partners or co-writers. Get all kinds of people involved and just have fun. Throw it all on there. Keep the fans interested. Show them a different side of your artistry and your craft. Give them something to enjoy while they're waiting for your record. And that kind of buys you time and it keeps the fans interested. Okay? That's pretty much it. So question of the day. What have you learned from the release of a single, an EP, an album, or a mixtape? Let's talk about it in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope this information helps you in your own musical journey and career. Now, that big announcement that I was talking about at the beginning of the video, yes, for those who decided to watch to the end, here it is. I have decided that I'm going to write, record, produce, and release an EP this year. And I've chosen a release date of May the 18th, which happens to be my birthday. Okay, so that's my big announcement. I don't have any title for it yet. It's completely blank right now. However, I've decided to do it and I've given it a date, so now I'm gonna make sure it gets done. There's no way I can get out of it because I put it out there. It's coming May 18th this year. New EP from Bori Afolabi. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really, really appreciate the support and all the love I get from you guys. Keeps me going, keeps me motivated. I've also got something special for you, whether you're new here or not. Click on the link in the description below and you get a free copy of my ebook called The Songwriting Process. All the best to you guys and thank you again. And until next time, let's keep making sure that songwriting gets attention. Oh yeah.
Just watch it go.